SNAP benefits may be delayed in January if you're in one of the 21 states that's refusing to give the federal government access to data. Brooke Rawlings, the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, announced today that the administration is cutting funding, federal funds, to the states that are refusing to play ball. What that means for you if you receive SNAP. The offices that handle all of the SNAP counts will lose their funding. That's what pays their employees. They may have to work on a skeleton crew or figure it out. The funds are still going to go to the office, but the office has to dish the funds out. And if they're short-staffed, there's where the delays come in. This can simply be fixed by giving the federal government access to the database so that they can clean it. In the red states, again, we have seen that people who were dead were getting it, people were getting multiple times, people were getting it in different states, and there was illegal aliens who were getting it as well, even though it's against the federal law. So they just simply want to clean it out so that we can adjust and ensure that the funds flow like they're supposed to. What are your guys' thoughts?
When a malignant narcissist finds a point of leverage that they can use against somebody, they will continue to push that button until it doesn't work anymore. When the government was shut down, Democrats stepped up in order to protect the healthcare subsidies. The point of leverage that this administration decided to use, this administration that is full of malignant narcissists, was removing SNAP benefits. We're going to starve people. We're going to force you to decide between protecting healthcare for these people for years to come or helping them eat in the middle of winter. So when people got upset about the 8 Democrats that decided to vote along with Republicans to reopen the government after not getting any meaningful concessions, this is why. Because this regime did not learn any lessons from the fact that this government reopened, all right? What they learned was we can use this point of leverage to get what we want. And wouldn't you know, right on cue, they want something else. They want personal data, information of immigrants that are living in Democratic-led states. And because these states say they're not going to give out personal information of people who live there because it is these people's rights to have that data protected from the federal government, the malignant narcissists went back to the one thing they knew was a point of leverage, a negotiation tactic, a cruel punishment that they could dish out in order to get what they want. By the way, Republicans in Congress refuse to talk about healthcare subsidies also, just as a side note. But this is highlighting the main issue that people are having. People are having with Democrats, people are having with anybody capitulating to this White House. They are not operating in a business as usual mindset. They are operating from the point of, we will take advantage of whoever we can. We will abuse whatever levers of power are afforded to us. And we will continue to bully anybody who allows us to bully them. This is why we are asking our legislative branch to step up. Because if Congress will not step up, I promise you the people will. Time is running out for y'all to do something.
Hello J family, welcome back to the channel. There is a serious fight happening over SNAP, the food assistance program that keeps millions of Americans fed. And right now, the Trump administration is threatening to cut benefits from more than 20 states. States that just happens to be led mostly by Democrats.
You guys, the Trump administration is going to start withholding SNAP benefits from Democrat-led states if they don't start providing data like recipients' immigration status. This will start next week and will continue until they comply. This is Trump's favorite tactic, withhold funds that he doesn't have the right to do in order to force others to bend to his will. Red states have already complied, in case you were wondering, but 21 blue states continue to say no since they first asked back in 2020. When Trump wanted names dates of birth, home addresses, social security numbers, and immigration status. For the record, you already need a valid social security number and have to have legal status anyway to qualify for assistance. So what could this really be about? We know that the USDA requesting this data is just another avenue for them to feed information to ICE. This is all connected. Is it time that we start talking about withholding our federal tax dollars? This regime has undermined our system long enough, and we know SCOTUS isn't going to do a damn thing, and Congress doesn't have the courage to cross party lines to save this country. They want us poor, desperate, and starving because it is a lot easier to control the masses that way when you can get them to beg for scraps, and blame the other for their problems.
It's scam-a-rama.
We had a couple of people receiving benefits in 6 states. In February of this year, we asked for all the states for the first time to turn over their data to the federal government to let the USDA partner with them to root out this fraud. But 21 states, including California, New York, and Minnesota, the blue states, continue to say no.
I don't understand this whole, we'll decide what laws are to be enforced and which laws aren't to be enforced.
As of next week, we have begun and will begin to stop moving federal funds into those states until they comply and they tell us and allow us to partner with them to root out this fraud and to protect the American taxpayer.
10% of the letters to food stamp recipients in Massachusetts came back fraudulent. 10%. That was in 2012. What do you think it is now? Do we have more or less illegal aliens in Massachusetts and everywhere else than we did in 2012? Are all illegal aliens on food stamps? Just about.
Here's the latest update on SNAP benefits. I'm a lawyer in real life. I don't play one on television. The Trump administration is now threatening to suspend SNAP benefits for people who live in Democratic states. And that is because the Democratic states are refusing to turn over personal sensitive information to the Trump administration and to DOJ. This could affect up to 20 million people. And remember, the primary beneficiaries of SNAP benefits, 67% of the people, are elderly, children, and the disabled. 2023 study of the Department of Agriculture and the SNAP benefits program showed that the majority of people, the vast majority of people who receive these benefits are doing so legally. This latest threat to cut off SNAP benefits cruel or justified? What do you think? This is likely another issue that's going to make its way to the Supreme Court, but if you're in a blue state, are you comfortable with the government having your personal information? Do we know what the government is going to do with this information? DOJ is one of the agencies that is seeking this information. Does that give you pause? Does that give you concern? Let me know what you think in the comments.
Trump is now blocking food stamp funds from blue states. Y'all want me to think that he cares about children. He cares about Americans, but he's okay with people fucking dying because they live in a blue state. Because mind you, people are going to die if they do not have food. For the stupid Republican, well, that's all of y'all. So for the Republicans, I want y'all to understand there are Republicans that live in those blue states. So this is not the own that you think it is, because Republicans are going to be affected. Little white friends are going to be affected because yes, the dumb Republicans, I need y'all to fucking understand that white people use food stamps more than any other race in America. As much as you try to paint the picture of who uses food stamps, babe, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. It's your cousin, which might also be your boyfriend. So just look real close. That's who's using food stamps. That's who's going to be affected. The Trump administration is not going to give funds to these blue states if they do not give recipient info to the federal government. It's just wild to me because this is the party that says they're Christians. I don't think Jesus would be in support of your party, my love.
Why are there states refusing to give the Secretary of Agriculture their SNAP data? What am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you. In February, the Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, asked all 50 states to give her their SNAP information because, of course, the Department of Agriculture funds SNAP. 29 of those states complied, and 21 have refused to supply that data, including 2 states that sued her for merely asking. So she said, if these 21 states don't give me that SNAP data, I'm going to withhold federal funding. Quote, let's see which states stand for accountability and which ones are just protecting bribery schemes.
In February of this year, we asked for all the states for the first time to turn over their data to the federal government to let the USDA partner with them to root out this fraud, to make sure that those who really need food stamps are getting them, but also to ensure that the American taxpayer is protected. 21 states said yes, not surprised. 29 states said yes, not surprisingly, the red states, and that's where all of that data, that fraud comes from. But 21 states, including California, New York, and Minnesota, the blue states, continue to say no. So as of next week, we have begun and will begin to stop moving federal funds into those states until they comply and they tell us and allow us to partner with them to root out this fraud and to protect the American taxpayer.
Don't know why these blue states want to play in her face, considering that the red states that did give up their SNAP benefits did have fraud going on, including people who are getting SNAP benefits from multiple states and people who are receiving double payments for their SNAP benefits. So it just seems a little fishy that these blue states don't want to hand over that information to Brooke Rollins. So I don't want to hear it whenever they start saying, oh my gosh, there's people starving, because you could have easily solved this problem by forking over the information in the first place.
If I told you the government is playing chess with your dinner, would you think I was lying? Here's the short version. They're threatening states, give us your data or lose the funding that runs SNAP. Not benefits. They're not that bold. But the money that keeps the system alive. And when you break the system, people go hungry. Not scammers, not fraudsters, real families, real workers, real seniors, real kids. Why does this matter today? Because hunger is now a weapon. And they're aiming it at the same people who are already on the edge. They call it oversight. But baby, this ain't oversight. This is overreach. In a suit and a smile. If you want the full receipts, the real story, and everything they won't say, the truth lives in the vault. Link in bio. So if I told you your rights and your rations are now being negotiated behind closed doors, would you believe me now?
The administration says this is about cracking down on waste and frauds. But here is the problem. To prove they are preventing fraud, they are demanding state hand over deeply personal information about SNAP recipients, immigrant states, social security numbers, details that put already vulnerable people at risk. And critics are calling this what it looks like: political extortion, a push to punish states that don't align with the administration's agenda. What makes this even more alarming is that the federal government already has enough data to track fraud without exposing families to danger. And a federal court has already ruled that the government cannot legally require states to turn over these sensitive informations, but the threat continues anyway, not just threatening food benefits, but also the funding states rely on the run SNAP in the first place. So let's be real. We are talking about a tactic that could take food off the table of millions of Americans, children, senior workers, families, and just to score political points. And if that happens, the backlash could be devastating for the very party trying to pull this off. Because starving people isn't policy, weaponizing hunger isn't leadership, and America knows the difference. When a government uses food as leverage, the message is loud and clear. And votes will remember exactly who tried to make them go hungry. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share for more commentaries like this. Let me see you on the next one.